In a typical world, there will exist 4 types of drivers. The first type of driver is the guy who will want to move from point A to B. How he moves, how he feels during the movement is none of his business or her business. All they care about is, can a car go ahead and go backwards? That's all. The second type of people are people who enjoy a bit of luxury. A car to them is like a house. It needs to have a bit of here and there luxury aspects, a sunroof, heated seats, cooled seats, perforated seats, ventilated seats, massage seats, all those type of things. And then the third group is people who care less. For them, like my friend, not so good friend Alex Mwanso, the car will look like a hideous piece of art, a bad bumper, a front fender that is beat up, but the only thing that functions that car is the drive experience. The engine and the gearbox and the shifting, pure exciting. And then the fourth group is you. Yes, I am talking to you. You don't know where you fit in all this. You are either here nor there. Well, the review today is for the second group and the third group of people. People who want luxury, but not only do they want luxury, they also want to top that up with a bit of performance and exciting performance. The car we are reviewing today is a 2017 BMW X5, and this is just not your typical BMW X5. This is the 35d xDrive. Welcome to another exciting episode of Conversations Kanisa. As you can see, it is a rainy day, but we've made sure that we are going to get you an epic episode on this Sunday. I hope you're doing good. I don't know whether it's raining today as you're watching this video, but I want you to enjoy this awesome and exciting review of the BMW X5. This particular one competes, again, we've been having a series of the GLE350d, and then we had the Range Rover with a diesel plant, and this is the one that comes to end the cycle of the competition, and this is the X5 35d. From the front fascia, it's easy and subtle. It shares the front with the BMW 3 Series, to be specific, the F30. Kidney grille, typical BMW, very nice LED headlights that are adaptive as well, and then these hideous looking fog lights. I don't know what BMW are doing when they came up with this, but overall, it's a manly car. It's handsome. I can't say it's cute, I can't say it's beautiful, but it's handsome. Not a car that will attract you when you look at it, but if you look at it good enough and for a while, it starts growing into you. So that's what you get on the front fascia of this car. Very easy, nothing going much. Chrome appendages, and I remember I told you, anytime you see chrome appendages, you know people are trying to become a bit luxurious. So that's what you get. Your BMW badge there. The good thing with this is, unlike most automakers like Mercedes-Benz, you'll get the logo here with the Distronic Plus, which is the radar cruise control system. But for BMW, they have theirs there, which is called the Connect Drive, which is quite good. So in case you get into an accident, you know, you're not paying expensive gadgets to be replaced at the front of this car. So let's move to the side profile of this car. This car looks like any other typical car from the BMW X5 generation, from the earlier versions. There is nothing much that has been changed on this car except 2 important things. One of them is this car right now is a monocoque chassis, and it's among the first cars to do that. So the drive on this car is quite epic and the handling is good as well. And when you move towards the end of this car, looking at it quite nicely, again on the side profile, as I said before, it's a manly car. It's not an attractive like what you'll get on the coupe on the Mercedes-Benz 350d. But one thing that I'll tell you for a fact is the Range Rover Sport looks better, way better than what you get on this. Easy, subtle, aggressive lines. Your xDrive35d badge that remind you that these are diesel. Let's talk about the suspension, because the suspension boils down to the driving experience that you get when you buy the BMW X5. Now, at the front, we have double wishbone, which is quite good when it comes to handling. At the rear, we have an independent multi-link suspension setup with, listen to this, active, electronically activated stabilizer links to make sure that when you're taking those curves, this car stays on the road and dances with you as a proper driver will wish. Let's move back at the rear of this car and talk about how does this car actually look at the rear. Nothing has changed much on the rear because this has retained its look. If you're buying any car with an X badge, be it a BMW X6, X3, X1, let's exclude the X6 because the X6 is a coupe, so it looks a bit different. But the X1, X3, and now the X5, even the X4, that is a wagon. This is the conventional look that you get at the rear. Quite nice, easy parking sensors. Let me see the exhaust tips. These are real and they sound quite beautiful when you drive as well. Parking sensors, some chrome going on, quite beautiful. But what is more interesting is what you get here. An electronic tailgate, and listen to that. It goes up electronically, and then you have a split tailgate setup. And this split tailgate setup is what you use when you sit on it and you talk to your favorite person and you plan better things in life. So this is quite awesome and beautiful. I didn't get these on the Range Rover Sport, and it didn't come with a split tailgate, which makes this quite superb. Now this particular car is a 7-seater, meaning you have a small third row of seats here, and small is the literal meaning of it because you can only fit 2 mbilikimos, not even children, at the third row of seats. So do not even think about fitting people on this third row of seats. Practicality, when the third row of seats is up, you can see it's quite manageable. It's quite manageable. This is a car that a person that enjoys driving will buy, but not only does he enjoy driving, he also comes together with a pack, which is a family, maybe 2 little kids, a beautiful wife, maybe a brother, I don't know. Just make sure your 7 seats are filled up. So you enjoy driving with a bit of practicality. But if you fold up the third row of seats, you get quite ambient space when it comes to cargo space. No spare wheel, no nothing. These ones are coming with a tire repair kit, something the Mercedes-Benz GLE wins at because it has a space saver spare wheel. So let's get at the interior of this car, and before we get to the interior of this car, let's talk about the engine setup because that is where the juice of owning this car is. Let's talk about the engine setup, the transmission setup, and see how does it actually compare to the competition. That is the Range Rover Sport and the Mercedes-Benz GLE350d. Let's talk about the engine that you get in this particular version of the BMW X5, which is the 35d. What you get here is the N57. That's the code name of this diesel plant. Single turbo with a power output of 255 HP paired to 560 Newton meters of torque. If you've heard right, this car has lower torque in comparison to the Range Rover Sport and the GLE350d as well. But hold there, because when we get on the road, you'll be surprised how much power or how much torque or how much speed this engine paired to the 8-speed ZF transmission and the BMW xDrive all-wheel drive system can actually do. You'll be surprised. I have my bet on this that it will outperform the Range Rover Sport with the diesel and the GLE350d with the diesel as well. But let's talk about this engine again. So this engine has a single turbo, and when you look at it from the top, it reads twin power turbo. So most people confuse twin power turbo to think that this engine has 2 turbos. No, what you have here is a twin scroll single turbo. The twin scroll technology here simply defines down to cylinder number 1, number 3, and number 5 will propel 1 scroll, and then cylinder 2, 4, and 6, because these are straight 6 engine, will propel scroll number 2. And put that together, you get low end torque, because this car pulls up a maximum torque below 1,500 RPM all the way to 3,000. So you get maximum torque of 560, and also you get almost zero. Okay, there is a bit of it, but almost zero turbo lag, and that's courtesy of that system that you get in this car. Remember, you can still get this with a twin turbo power label. So there is twin power turbo and there is twin turbo power. Now twin turbo power means it comes with 2 turbos, bi-turbo, one on the other side and the other one on the other side. So at least you know something about this type of engine. So what are the possible problems or setbacks that you'll encounter if you choose to buy this car? One, I want you to understand that this car is rated at Euro 6. The rain is beating me, so subscribe. I'll remind you again, nacheza na tiny pesa, because if you don't do that, all this trouble will be for nothing. So this car is rated at Euro 6. It comes with few things. One of them is what you see here, this blue cap. So this is the AdBlue, And AdBlue is basically a formulation that tries to make sure that your emissions are cleaner at the tailgate. And number 2, it comes with a DPF, and number 3, it comes with an EGR. And all those things, literally what it means is, with poor maintenance, poor quality oil, poor quality parts, and over time carbon buildup, those things tend to block up over time. So what I would recommend if you're planning to buy this car, just like any other diesel plant that you'll buy in Kenya right now, if you can't do a DPF delete, you can retain your AdBlue. AdBlue is quite cheap, nothing much to spend there. But you can also delete your EGR if you can. But if you don't, just make sure occasionally you plug it off, clean it, and put it back. This engine as well, just like Mercedes-Benz, the diesel plants, they decided they're going to put their timing chain at the back of the engine. So it means over time, again, these are service item. But these are revised engine, it's more improved, so you don't get those frequent failures on this particular engine. But on the earlier versions of this engine, they had problems with the timing chain. And what it meant is the engine had to come out entirely, or the gearbox has to come out entirely. That's how you get access to repair and fix the timing chain. Away from that, it's a beautiful car. It's an awesome car to drive. But let's check out the interior of this car and see how does it match spec to spec with the Range Rover Sport and the Mercedes-Benz GLE350d. Now, unlike the Mercedes-Benz GLE350d, you don't get your legend Egonga seats at the rear. This one can only come and fall down in a 3 split. So you get that, you get a middle section, and this one. So I think this one you can say a 1/4 and a 1 split. I don't know if that's an item, but this is what you get. I remember I told you about the 3rd row seats. Look at that. These are quite tiny. You can only fit, I don't know what you can fit here, but that's what you get. But the good thing is whoever will fit here can control the fan speed and the direction of air that comes to the rear. But something that you get also that is awesomely beautiful is this. See that? That's your pet net. So in case you are carrying your pets at the rear, again, BMW has made it possible for you to have that. Away from that, one thing I don't like about these seats is the fact that, come on, why are you not coming up? Okay, there you go. These are beige interior, and one thing I can tell you with beige interior, it doesn't like dirt. So I'm even scared of touching it. So if you have kids that tend to be on the extreme side when it comes to being dirty, this is an interior you want to avoid. But the good thing is you can actually recline your seats, mbele na nyuma, maybe to accommodate the 3rd guys, which again doesn't make any sense. They won't fit there, but that's a good thing. The second thing is you can also recline, this one to accommodate, your comfortable stance. Number 2, you have your cup holders here that are retracted like that. BMW again with their own shenanigans, so you can have that there. Away from that, nothing else going on. It's as simple as that. But wait, there's something else. The lift guy. Remember the third guy that you carry? This guy will enjoy his day because there is no or minimal transmission tunnel. So he'll get an awesome experience being carried as the 3rd guy. You get your aeroplane design back seat holders, which can fit in a very nice laptop. Easy, nothing much. Heated seats again at the rear, which is some sort of a normal thing right now. I don't need to be talking about that. And at least as also the 2nd row seats, you also get the luxury of having the panoramic sunroof spreading all the way to you at the back, giving you ambient light. It feels good and cozy to be here. So let's check out the front of this car and see, does it match up in terms of technology and comfort in comparison to the Range Rover Sport and the Mercedes-Benz GLE350d. Finally, I can get into the cozy aspect of this car because the cold out there and the rain, my lord. But let's get into it. So first, clearly there's something that I'm missing out when it comes to this BMW X5. A bit that is missing when it comes to luxury. And there you get your slightly hard plastic, but they've made it a bit premium by having this high glossy shiny wood finish with this black plastic trim here, which makes it a bit premium. And you couple that together with these beautiful beige seats that are quite comfortable, but they don't tuck you in as well as you'll get the seats on the GLE350d. I think this is a bit open. They're not giving you that tuck-in vibe, which I don't know. I believe it's a preference matter. For me, I prefer these ones more. I think they're more open and easier. But if you prefer extreme driving and you want seats to tuck you in, I believe the GLE350d will be awesome and beautiful. I'm hitting my butt right now because, you know, things are very tough. But let's get into more practical issues like practicality. So you get your storage glove compartment here that is average. You get your bisexual center console that opens on both ends to provide you a very good space again where you can store your phone, anything. It has an USB charging port and an auxiliary port to connect to your music system. You have very big door bins to carry as huge bottles, maybe even 2 liters. I don't know, they are huge. I know Fabian will take it away and show you how huge they are. And number 2, you get your cup holders here and you can put in your nice coffee. There you go, 2 cup holders, no wireless charging, no nothing. Okay, that's what you get. Easy, quite simple interior, because this car again is driver centric. It's driver centric because everything you get here kind of faces the driver. So let's start with the infotainment system. So you have a 10-inch touchscreen display, and this is an updated one. The earlier versions were not touch, but this one is touch, so you can actually control it by a touch of your fingers. But if you don't like that, you can also use this nice swivel gear, which is down here, and that is courtesy of what you call the iDrive6. This runs iDrive6 system, so it's quite intuitive. I find it quite interesting and quite easy to operate. It gives you a lot of information about car. For instance, I can tap there with my touch, my fingers, and I can tell how much range I have on fuel. If there's any error message, like right now it's telling me to service my engine, it also service my brake fluid. And these are the nicer things you get with newer cars and newer technology. Away from that, these are driver's car, so they've given you the provision of being touch, but everything else has been simulated down to buttons. So you get all buttons here. You can lower the temperature, 3-zone climate control, so you get each one controlling their zone here. Then the rear guys will share one, but the 2 here will have each one of their own. Then you have your CD changer that you'll never use, but it's fair to say that it's there. And nothing much to talk about. The steering wheel, however, it's something I don't like. This is not the premium model of an X5 that you'll buy, but BMW has this stupid thing they do with selling you every option that is premium. So if you wanted a better steering wheel, it's an option. If you wanted a sunroof like the one we have here, it's an option. If you wanted electric adjustability on that seat on the passenger side, it's an option. If you wanted a better dashboard, it's an option. Everything is an option that you have to pay for, including the sound system. So this one runs an original bass sound system from BMW, which sounds quite beautiful. But if you wanted to get this car with Harman Kardon, it's also an option you have to pay for. If you want to get this car with Bang Olufsen, again, it's an option that you have to pay for. So nothing much. This is a plastic steering wheel. It's very huge and it's very plastic. That's all I can say. But the good thing is you can adjust it electronically. So you can take it down, you can take it up. I think that's all you get. A digital cluster that has very nice visuals with 3 driving modes: Eco, Pro, Comfort and Sport, with a bit of adjustments on the Sport individuality, so you can adjust how the driving feels like around the steering wheel, the throttle, the transmission, the engine, all that you can actually be able to set up. So this car gives you a bit of more options as a driver to dial in exactly what you want. So I don't want to waste too much time on this car because there's nothing much to talk about it. Let's take this car on the road and see how does it actually feel or experience to drive this car. And will it hammer down the GLE350d and the Range Rover Sport HSE when it comes to 0 to 100? Because that is where this car really shines. It's a rainy day in the city of Nairobi on this date, and that provides a perfect chance for me to experience the power of the X35d, the BMW X5. And instantly I sit in this car and I realize there's something else that is going on that I didn't feel on the GLE, neither did I get it from the Range Rover. And on this one, guys, I want us to be on level. So I'm talking about the same units I've reviewed. The Range Rover with a 3000cc diesel turbocharged power plant, the GLE350d as well. I think if I have to explain how the experience feels, is this is a proper driver's car. BMW have this thing they do where they tune their cars to sit well with a proper driver. That's how I'll properly put it. Like it's a totally different car. I'm seated high as usual, just the same way I was on the GLE, just the same way I was on the Range Rover Sport. I'm seated high in a commanding position, which is quite elegant and good. Gives me those vibes that I'm driving a huge SUV. But something else that I know for a fact is different is it doesn't feel like it's a huge SUV. Just look at that. See, I can move it into spaces. Just so smooth, so beautiful. The noise cancellation is good. It's actually raining, as you can see on my side windows. It's raining, but I feel nothing of that inside the cabin. The diesel Grand is quite beautiful. I wish I could take down the windows for you to understand how good the sound deadening is on this car. But one thing I'll tell you that is quite stupid for BMW. They've introduced a bit of sound through the speakers. So when you put your feet down, the diesel Grand, they have introduced a sound that pretty cancels out the diesel Grand. But for me, I love it. I would rather hear that, add some sound coming from the speakers. It's nothing to do with the sound from the engine. But quite beautiful. It handles quite well. The suspension feels good. Being a rain day, you guys will imagine I'll be struggling driving this car. But you know what? Nikon xDrive. So the all-wheel drive system from BMW is doing magic when it comes to handling, just pushing this car through curves and corners, even on this rainy day. And something else that I enjoy and love about the diesel plant, the 3000cc N57, it gives me enough power, pushing out 255 HP. And comparing it to the other competitors, that is the GLE350d and the Range Rover Sport, this one is coming short when it comes to the Newton meters of torque. So I'm pushing only 560 on these, but you don't feel like you're actually pushing 560. It has less torque, but it feels like it's more powerful than the rest, and that is something beautiful. I think that's down to the 8 speeds, the DEF transmission that I have on this. It's meticulous, it's beautiful when it comes to shifting. But definitely one thing that I enjoy more the BMW X5 is the visibility. Comparing it to the GLE Coupe, it has a hideous way of expressing visibility where you don't see anything. So on this one, everything's clear. I can see everything. The driving mirror is quite cute and beautiful. I know the GLE has a cute one as well, but this one makes it better considering I have a lot of visibility going on. I believe these are proper driver's car. Of course, now the only thing that we have pending is 0 to 100. The weather is challenging. The terrain is a bit wet, and that will be a proper way of testing driving pleasure, as Alex Mwanzo will say it. Alex Mwanzo has a way of expressing things about a BMW that you can't touch. But I want to agree with him on one thing. The BMW is a proper driver's car. You sit in it, you drive it, you experience that this is a proper driver's car. It drives as good as they say. There are no gimmicks here. There are no jokes. So it's a proper good car. And I know the question is, how does it feel to drive on the off-road? I know one thing the Range Rover Sport shines on, it comes in packed with a very good off-road cred in terms of the technology, proper off-road cred. But I know people will never take that car to any off-road terrain. The GLE is a kind of luxury on-road car. You don't take it to an off-road terrain as well. But this one here, just like the GLE, I think they share these across the board. You don't take this car anywhere. You don't take it to an off-road terrain. But if you get your normal, Kenyan or African manageable off-road terrains, what we say, umeenda ushago, umeenda siju kutembelea nani, this car performs well. The suspension is quite solid. The double wishbone at the front, independent suspension at the rear, quite good. But something else that this car has that is quite enjoyable to know is the fact that it has adaptive hydraulic stabilizer links at the rear, and when you're taking corners, it can always adjust to slightly reduce the body roll, especially when you're taking those corners. So that is something that you need to know. But again, BMW being engrossed or being immersed into the power of giving you cars that you can properly enjoy while you're driving, of course, those are things that you expect. So my Draghi is on, it's set. I'm just going to reset it. There is my Draghi. We do 0 to 100 scientifically, so atufanyangi maneno ati yeah. So I'm going to put her in sport. Let me put her in sport. When you put her in sport, the dials change, everything becomes red, which is quite awesome. The driving modes of this car is Eco Pro, then you have Comfort, then you have Sport, and then under Sport you can still customize or individualize different settings like how your suspension feels, but this one doesn't come with the adaptive dampers. You know, the adaptive dampers is when you put in sport, it becomes stiff. If you put it in comfort, it becomes a bit comfortable. This one, the comfort, the sport, and the eco driving mode is essentially down the driving dynamics and not the suspension. So now that she's in sport, the steering has firmed up a little bit, feels a bit heavier. The throttle response is quite aggressive right now, and the gearbox, I'm also, so with BMW you have to snap the car and the transmission as well into sport. So the gearbox, I'm also going to press it on the left side. It's Tiptronic, so you don't have paddle shifters, but if you want to enjoy shifting up and down, you put her in sport, and there it can allow you to shift up and down using the conventional gear lever from BMW. So I have the transmission in sport, I have the car in sport, I have my xDrive system on. I hope it will not disappoint me. The rain has just calmed down a little bit. I still have some few drops here and there, but let's see, how does it go? Wow! Wow! Yes! Come on! BMW! Woo! 100! Braking. Wow, in the rainy. Let's see. Ooh, that's good. That's okay. Everything has gone haywire, but that's beautiful. In the rain, let's see. Come on! That's why I told you guys, a BMW is just a BMW. Let nobody tell you nothing. So, in this bad weather, let me put her back in comfort. She's aggressive. In this weather, going head-to-head with the GLE350d and the Range Rover with the 3000cc turbo diesel, the BMW has managed a 0 to 100 in an epic 7.58 seconds. This car is rated at, I think, at around 6 point something seconds, 6.9. So hitting 7.58 in bad weather like this, I can tell you for a fact that this BMW has retained its credibility in terms of being a driver's car. Performance is beautiful. I love it. I've enjoyed it. The launch is good. The diesel grunt is awesome, although they have done the speaker thing, but I love it. It's enjoyable. It's a beautiful car. And guys, not only did it hack to do 7.58 seconds 0 to 100, it also stopped in a rainy day, in a wet day, from 100 to 0 in 4.85 seconds. Wow, BMW. The suspension feel on this particular car is quite beautiful. BMW has this thing they do around their stabilizer links, where they make them active electronically. So meaning, if you're going through corners, at the rear, they have active links that adjust and change their position to give you epic handling, and that is exactly what you get on this BMW X5. The double wishbone at the front, the engineering on suspension around performance for BMW has always been epic. That is something we can't take away from them. One thing I'll give to Mercedes-Benz, having driven the GLE350, on a straight line, it feels quite solid. I felt, as I said before, the GLE was all over, huge tires. I felt it was all over, but this one is quite spot on. It's quite planted, it's quite easy, it's quite refined. Even the engine, you can't tell whether that engine is a diesel plant, and that is something that I really appreciate about this BMW X5 35D. Let's talk about something controversial that you will not believe. So one, the side knobs on your steering, the ones that you use to put your indicators and maybe activate your wipers, they have these buttons, Volvo design. Volvo has these things that you press buttons on the side. It gives you different modes or displays different things on the screen. So I've just clicked on the left side where it gives me details of my kilometers per liter. And currently I'm averaging 8.6 kilometers per liter. And I know the Range Rover Sport, the diesel, did better in terms of fuel economy on average when we did our driving experience. The GLE350d as well did better. I believe this is the poorest. I don't know whether, if I need to get better fuel economy, do I need to put her in Eco Pro mode or something like that? Probably if I put her in Eco Pro mode, I'll get better numbers. But according to BMW, this is rated at 14 kilometers to a liter, which is quite solid. You're getting a unique performing BMW X5 35D giving you an average fuel economy of 14 kilometers to a liter, and keeping all these interesting stuff in terms of driving experience is quite beautiful. But you can see I'm also jumping around kidogo. The road here is uneven, but the car is doing a good job in terms of just soaking in the imperfections. It's not as all over as the GLE350d coupe, but it's also slightly jumpy and active here and there. So that's my take. I would rather you have the adaptive dampers. I think they'll do a good job in terms of making it smoother. But also something you need to know is if you get one with adaptive dampers, it will cost you more when they go out. So it's upon you. If I was a Kenyan, this will be a perfect set of suspension to buy, because these are slightly cheaper. They'll accommodate and do the job slightly better. And that's all we need in Kenya, because everything right now is expensive. If you can keep your budget low, you're good. So back to the types of drivers we talked about. If your driver who is looking for something sporty, something that will handle, something that you'll enjoy driving, ultimately among the three, this car will stand out. Of course, BMW are crazy. They have made sure that every little option in terms of comfort in this car is an option that you need to pay for. So we just hope that the car you're buying from Japan, the guy who owned it before, had a good option. And if you buy that with a good option, then you get an awesome and beautiful car. But if you get one like this one, you still get some extras like the sunroof, but you get a plastic steering wheel, which is quite bad in consideration to the competition, but it makes the work done. Come on, I would rather have a bad steering and get 7.58 seconds than have a good steering and get 9 seconds, you know, from, was it 8 or 9, from the Range Rover R, the Range Rover Sport. So that is it. So let's do value for money and see. In terms of cost, how does the BMW X5 35d compare against the GLE350d and the Range Rover Sport HSE? Because Range Rover HSE is a medium kind of Range Rover in terms of category of luxury. The GLE350d that we did in the previous episode is also not fully packed, so we can say it's also somewhere there. It's an MG package, so perfect. And this one, we can also say it's a medium, some sort of medium BMW X5, because it has some extra options, but there are a few things that are quite basic when you buy this car. Quite basic. The top is beautiful, make no mistake. You see this BMW X5 with a 35D badge, just don't play with it, because the way it puts down the torque, overtaking, hills. This is a car that will chew hills for breakfast. Don't try it. Don't try it. As huge as it is, do not try it. Do not try it. It's a beautiful car. If there is a car I've enjoyed driving, it's this one. Look at that. Beautiful car. I love cars that drive good. So that will exactly tell you the kind of driver I am. The introduction, you know, the three type of drivers, you know the type of driver I am. So these are proper drivers car. So let's do a proper value for money and do a value proposition and see how does this vehicle stack up against competition. Does it make value for money? Would you rather buy this instead of buying the other two? Okay, but I'll give it straight up. In terms of luxury, I'll still give the Range Rover Sport number 1, and then the Mercedes-Benz GLE number 2, and this will come last. But in terms of performance, of course, this one is taking the lead. So it comes down to the needs of your driver. Let's do value for money and put that into perspective and see exactly where do you fall. Finally, the sun is out after having a terrible day in the office reviewing this car under rain with my guy behind the camera, Fabian. But the good thing is right now I can relax. At least the warmth of the weather is catching up with me. But let's talk about more serious business, and that is value for money. So what is the value proposition of you buying this car in comparison to buying the Mercedes-Benz GLE350d, whether it's a coupe or a wagon, and whether you can consider the Range Rover Sport as well, the diesel variant, which runs on the same engine plant, like 3000cc turbocharged. Now, this is where it gets quite interesting. This car has been given to us, again, courtesy of our friends at KDG Imports along Ngong Road, Prestige, opposite Prestige Plaza. They have a variety of awesome cars, and the good thing is all their cars are CARSURE certified. And talking about CARSURE, if you log on to www.carsure today, all the mechanical reports comprehensive mechanical reports have been brought down. The price is 100 bob Kenyan shillings only, and we're giving you that offer for 2 weeks. So go there, buy any report, experience the beautiful aspect of us trying to change the way you make your car buying decisions by investing on value. You know, you get to buy a car knowing exactly what it comes with, whether it has any mechanical problem, it doesn't. So that's what you get. So go to CARSURE.Africa, nunua report. It's only 100 bob. You can buy as many as you want. And once you do that, of course, you'll have an awesome and secure ownership experience. But let's go back to this car. So KDG Imports will give you this car, just listen to it, for only 6.8 million Kenyan shillings. Now, let's pause there for a second. Take the GLE350 and put it on this side. Take the Range Rover Sport and put it on this side. The Range Rover Sport is 11 million. The GLE350 is 10 million Kenyan shillings. Okay, you can slightly get it at a lower price, maybe 8.59 mic, depending on the spec and the quality. And this one is 6.8. In comparison to the Range Rover Sport, you are saving almost 4 million Kenyan shillings. And you guys want to talk to me about reliability. Tell me which reliability will make you spend 4 million Kenyan shillings on top of buying this car. To repair what in this car? To repair what? No, let's be serious. Reliability, toys or headphones, There's nothing better in terms of value for money like buying the BMW X5. I'll tell you for a fact, it's a perfect driver's car. It has a bit of luxury features that you need for an average driver and an average consumer. And number two, it will take any diesel Range Rover Sport, that is 3000cc, or Mercedes-Benz GLE350d any day, anytime. And it will not do it calmly, do it nicely, like you've seen. 7.58 seconds, 0 to 100. So, listen, I'm a Mercedes-Benz guy. You guys know that. But on this, I'm buying this car. Any day, anytime. I would rather save 3 million Kenya shillings instead of buying a Mercedes-Benz and buy this car. Or I can save 4 million Kenya shillings and not buy the Range Rover Sport. After all, it's a BMW. What else are you looking for? I've been your host, Papa Scoff himself. See you on the next one. And I'm driving out with the BMW X5 35D. Bye-bye. Have an awesome Sunday.